Welcome to the Veronica Edwards Show, where we have fun, financial conversations that everyone listening can apply to their personal and professional life. I'm your host, Veronica Edwards, CPA, and we are back season 5 in 2025, completely independent, sponsored by Balance Virtually LLC, my accounting and consulting business. So definitely want to thank the V team. We are getting to the end of our first season on YouTube as well as on Buzzsprout. And I just want to thank you guys. We have a couple of shorts that are over 1,000 views. I think altogether we've had over maybe 10,000 views of everybody watching. So we're super excited. We are still looking for some sponsors. So anybody that wants to support a small minority business and show, please reach out to us at balancevirtually.com. So today's episode is one of my favorites. It's a reoccurring segment we've had here on the Veronica Edwards Show all seasons, which is Small Biz Chat. And this edition of Small Biz Chat is the rise of remote and hybrid work models. And we are honored to have back friend to the show, Ms. Ebony Sullivan, the Chief Operating Officer of Cassy Electric, the only minority female-owned electrical business in the state of South Carolina. Ebony is a dynamic leader who has shattered barriers in the male-dominated electrical industry. With a steadfast commitment to excellence, she has played a pivotal role in the company's growth and success. So without further ado, I would like to welcome back Ms. Ebony Sullivan.
Hey.
Welcome back.
Hey, thank you for having me back.
Yes, you look beautiful today. I love this blonde and it down. When you were on in March, I can't remember. I think you were blonde already,
Yeah,
but it's something about the blonde down,
love it.
darling.
I love it. I
It's
love it.
it's giving royalty. So you were on our first episode on YouTube on video. So this is your second time around. What's been going on since March?
Oh my goodness, so much has happened since March. We actually got into our first legal battle this year, so it's been quite an
Mm.
interesting situation. But it's been fun to navigate and really trust and lean in with God, honestly, on what next steps should be. So we've had some fun. 2025 has come in roaring like a lion.
And that could be a really good topic for us to have in season 6 is talking about when it gets to the point when you might have to take legal action against a customer, a vendor, whoever it is. And I think a lot of times, especially women, we feel like, well, I'm just going to be the bigger person and I'm not going to do this or do that. You could be the bigger person, but still take things through the legal process so you can be properly compensated.
Yes, ma'am. Please, let's make sure we have that conversation. We need to let the listeners know just how to handle these kind of situations. It was new for me, and I'm thankful that I had good leadership and mentorship that could help navigate me through it. But it's
Mhm.
definitely something that you got to be prepared for.
Yes, and we are today talking about remote and hybrid work models, and we'll get into it in the future when we do talk about legal matters. But there is Legal Shield, and there's all these other online legal services. So stay tuned to that episode, and definitely, Ebony, hang on for the good fight. We know it's tough being in a male-dominated industry,
Yeah.
being a double minority. So I would love to hear your insight on what we're talking about today.
Mm.
So we want to cover the top 5 reasons why remote and hybrid work models works for small business owners and also how to implement it. You know, a lot of times we want to give different facts and ideas, but then people are like, okay, that sounds good, but how do I do that? So we definitely want to also give some solutions. So Ebony, I'm just going to run through what those 5 reasons for remote and hybrid work models are. And then if you can go into a little bit more detail.
Sure.
So we're going to talk about lowering your overhead and your operational costs. 2, access to wider, more diverse talent pools for employees, increase productivity, flexibility. 4, higher employee satisfaction and retention. And last, business resilience and continuity. So Ms. Sullivan, if you can start us off with why we should go remote and using the reasoning of lower overhead and operational costs.
Yeah, sure. So lower overhead and operational costs is really big here. We had a home office that we were in a lease with for 3 years. When our lease was up, we decided to go into remote work. And we have a hybrid situation because, of course, our electrical engineer field men are out in the field daily, and we do have a shop where we have material and house things for them to come and pick up materials and equipment. However, our administrative back office support works from home. This remote opportunity helped us to lower significantly our operational costs because now we no longer have a lease overhead. There's benefits to
Mhm.
that as well, being a home based office, that I can also write off a lot of things that we pay for at home, like our internet and our
Mhm.
office space. A lot of that I can rent back to my business, and the business can pay for some portions of my mortgage, right? And
Mhm.
so, same with insurance. There's a lot of benefits to it, and there's a lot of cost reductions, and not just having an office where you're paying all utilities and lease payments and property insurance and all the gamut of things that comes along with it. So, having that has significantly lowered our overhead and our operational costs.
Wow. And I'm glad that you mentioned there's so many things that you can write off when you're in a home office. It's very important for those that are watching and listening to have a really good tax CPA
For sure.
that can walk you through all of those things throughout the year. Because sometimes, even though you're not seeing that cash come out of your business account and it is kind of commingled with personal, you can make those adjustments at the tax time of the year. So you're not seeing necessarily a cash refund check, but you are seeing it offset your tax liability. So I'm glad that you brought that up, Ebony. Okay, so what about wider, more diverse talent pool? We know in 2025, it's extremely hard
Yeah.
to get good talent in the areas that we live in. I'm in Western North Carolina. Ebony is in the upstate of South Carolina. We love the Carolinas, but not necessarily the most diverse talent pool, if we could talk about that.
Yeah, so we're a minority owned business, and it's important to me to represent that throughout our company through and through. So I'm a huge advocate of looking for other minorities that we can lift up. We've got some successful HBCUs out there. We've got a lot of great talent that are women and minorities. And not that I discriminate by any means, we'll hire the best candidate. However, I'm very intentional about looking for people who look like us, so that they can represent our company. And in doing that here in South Carolina, that access to that talent has been very slim. And so when we went remote, it opened up the gamut of opportunities for us to be able to say, hey, we don't have to just look for somebody here in South Carolina. They can work
Mhm.
literally anywhere as long as they have access to a computer and internet service. We can do business with one another. I mean, you're in North Carolina and you're our CPA, right? So that's just a great
Yep.
example of how it has opened us up and gave us access to much more diverse talent. In addition to it, just it's way more attractive for some people to know that, hey, I don't have to get dressed every day and go into an office or get driving traffic every day. And so people
Yes.
apply for the job when they realize that they've got the flexibility to be able to work from home. And of course, we try to get together when we can. So don't want you to live in California naturally, but if that's where the talent is, then we'll certainly work with that. But we want people who are able to manage themselves. And to me, it just feels like having this remote access really shows you more responsible, like-minded candidates who are able to handle a workload and manage life more effectively when you give them that flexibility to own their own schedule.
And I think one thing we need to add too is you have a family owned business. It also allows your family to stay involved in the business. You know, you have a son that is based out of Georgia and he works for the business. And so that's something as small business owners we think about all the time. Like, what is the succession plan? Does the family have to live right here? And being able to be remote and hybrid, you can provide that flexibility. So I love that, which goes into number three, increase productivity and flexibility. So, Ebony, you've seen the work environment both ways where everyone had to come in. Now that it's remote, what would you say is the biggest positivity in this, or have you seen an increase in productivity?
Oh my goodness. We wasted so much time in that office. We were just chatting, that water cooler talk. It was sucking up so much time, right? And
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Mm-hmm.
fully 100% aware of what my team is doing all day, every day, right? But I know
Mm-hmm.
that I get more work out of them, even if it's in chunks of the day, where they're just cranking it out. So when they feel the day needs to start for them, I mean, the phone starts ringing at our office at 8 a.m. And so my assistant Bianca is up early in the morning, able to catch the phone. But aside from that, in terms of deliverables, she's got her own day, and she can
Mm-hmm.
plan her doctor's appointments and her lunch meetings and whatever it is that she needs to do for herself. And it's no micromanagement. So I think that as a manager, as an owner, you have to have a very high level of trust in your team. You have to
Mm-hmm.
understand that you're looking for results, not time, right? So that's a big thing, and a mind shift that you have to have is that I'm not looking for somebody to be on the clock. Like, this isn't manufacturing. We're not punching the clock at 8 and taking 15-minute breaks and everybody got to be standing back in the line. No, I'm looking for
Right.
results. So if I'm asking for you to give me deliverables by Friday, I'm expecting that, right? I'm still expecting that we're meeting deadlines. And my team has really been crushing it and doing a really good job of that. And I think just having that flexibility to own their own day has really allowed them to take ownership. I mean, I've seen them working late at night after hours, which I don't encourage. But if they didn't get it done when they were supposed to get it done, they're going to make sure that they
Yep.
still meet the deadline, irregardless of when they have to work to get that done.
I was in a meeting last week and someone said time versus or task versus time.
Yeah.
And that's so true because I can't tell you what time I'm going to get off. I just know I need to get this done
Yep.
before I leave work. So, I like that. It teaches responsibility. And that leads into number 4 too, with when people are more productive, when they have control over their schedule, higher employee satisfaction and retention. I feel like when people can own their schedule and what they're doing, they feel like they have more of an impact. So let's talk about that a little bit more. Where have you seen this within Cassy Electric?
Oh, wow. I mean, I'm just to be completely honest with you, that we've had a rough 24 was crazy. And compared to 25, we were still trying to get our footing together and rebound from a lot of the craziness that happened in 24. And then, like I just mentioned, now we're in a legal situation with a client, and it's just been, it's the nature of business. And I have had moments where I'm like, oh my God, I hope my team doesn't quit.
Right.
Walk out on me. This is insanity going on. But I have seen such a more lean in approach to the team where they are really like, we want to help, we want to figure this out. What can we do? Like, I've been doing this, I've been researching this because
Oh, I love
sit
that.
on my couch and do it, right? Like, I
Mhm,
can sit on my
mhm,
couch and scroll on my phone and look for ideas and not
mhm.
pressure to have to dress up and come out and burn my gas and be in this heat and be in all the elements of the weather. I can just be at home. And I've seen such a higher level of satisfaction from them because they have that flexibility. I mean, to the point of even them saying to me, I feel guilty. Like, am I
Right.
doing something else? And I'm like, no, you're doing a great
Mm-mm.
job. It's just, they just feel so much more empowerment to be able to do what they need to do at the pace that they need to do it without the pressure and the burden of just punching a clock every day and
Yes.
riding the wave of the 8 to 5 in the office Monday through Friday. Like, those days, I know there's a lot of
Mhm.
companies that are going back to office work now, and I just don't hear from my colleagues and others who are in the workforce um any satisfaction in that. They're really not
Mm-mm.
happy about having to go back into the office space. But I think my team has been significantly happier being at home and being able to own their schedule and do what they need to do on their time.
And see, I'm glad that we're talking about that because we're representing small business owners, those that are under
Mm,
5, 7 million a year. And yes, on the news, we do hear a lot of these huge institutions, the city, the county, the government, they're going back to work where they did allow some flexibility. And mark our words, they're going to see a dip when it comes to being able to retain folks because people already, as soon as those announcements came out, I have folks that are in our age group that have 20 years of experience. They've earned the right that if they want to work home on Monday or on Friday or however many days, they should if they're able to get their work done without being superly supervised or overly supervised. So I do feel like a lot of times that's the luxury we have of having a small business and we're not a publicly traded company. We can do whatever we want to do.
yeah,
And it's that person's choice if they want to work with us. But to me, your number one asset is your
for
people.
sure.
And if your people aren't happy, if they're not feeling a part of the team, if they're not feeling valued, like what are we doing this for? And I feel like Helene, COVID, all of that stuff really continued to push us to see how are ways that we can really show that we value our employees without necessarily a raise.
Mhm.
I mean, it costs nothing to allow your staff to drop their child off to work,
Oh,
to pick them up. Some days we've all had a sick child or that we've had to bring a child to work.
yeah,
And it just melts your heart when someone's like, oh, yeah, they're not too loud. Bring them in. They could come on the computer. So just having that
yeah.
it just saves you so much stress.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
So,
yeah. Well,
and to wrap all of this up, business resilience and continuity. Again, to be remote, that means emergencies can happen,
yeah,
illness, weather, all the things, and the job still goes on. I mean, Ebony, personally, you've gone through so much in the last 12 to 18 months. But at the end of the day, you have payroll every week.
every week.
And the staff is like, we get it, Miss Sullivan, but we still trying to get paid because we did our job. So, what can you say to those listening that is like, okay, all these things sound great, but really, how can remote hybrid work environment actually support continuity?
Well, one of the things I will definitely suggest to all owners and leaders of organizations and small businesses is it requires a significant mindset change, right? Again, it goes back to understanding that you're looking for deliverables. You're looking for the end game. For my business specifically, we have estimates and they have deadlines, and I'm expecting them to meet those deadlines. I'm not expecting that they log on to my computer that I've provided them at 8 o'clock and I need to see their green button on Teams showing that they're available. Like, I'm busy. I don't have time to manage that. I'm trying to find money and keep the business running.
Exactly.
So I want to really impress upon the people that are listening that it's really about leadership. It's top down leadership. It's about your mindset change. It's about how you lead your teams. It's about trust. It's about putting the right people on the bus, right? If you've got the right
Mm.
people, now we've had to shuffle some chairs. We've had
Hmm.
some folks go. They weren't the right people. And I know that if we were in a situation where we were working remote, that I would have concerns about them being at home, not doing what they were doing. And that's because they weren't doing what they were supposed to be doing in the office, right? It had
Yep.
nothing to
Yep. Yep.
do with the work environment. It had to do with the individual. So hire well, right? Hire well. Don't, we did the friend thing. We're past that, right? Like, we're not hiring friends anymore. We're hiring people who are capable, who are competent, who rely on their paycheck and rely on you to provide that for them. And in order for you to be able to provide that paycheck, this is what I tell my team: I need you to do your job so I can do mine. And my job, my
Yes.
number one role right now is making sure that I secure money for us to continue to grow this business and operate every day. And so that means I need you answering the phones. I need you sitting our kids.
Hmm.
I need you attending our meetings. And of course, there's always accountability in that part where we have to have weekly meetings. We have
Sure.
to be in touch with one another. I don't just let them roam and we don't ever touch base with one another. Of course, there's some level of accountability, but it all boils down to task, not time.
Yes. So let's talk about that. How can we successfully implement remote and hybrid living?
Yeah,
Or I guess we say work models. So, Ebony, I definitely want us to talk about having the right technology, making sure there's clear work policies and expectations, prioritizing communication, like you mentioned, making sure we're connecting on a
yeah,
frequency, making sure we have cybersecurity. Now that we're going into the cloud, we want to make sure it's secure, and making sure, like you said, we're being intentional about the culture and team building. So, Ebony, we got about 5 minutes. If you can kind of go through those things and how you can see that these tools can help successfully implement remote and hybrid work
absolutely.
models.
We started off with Google, you right? So it's free. When you're small business, you can get in with Google. We eventually evolved and grew into using Microsoft. So these are just Google offers Google Meet for face-to-face collaboration, Microsoft Teams. There's Slack. There's a lot of things for project management like Asana and Trello or ClickUp. There's places for you to put all of your files and keep things organized so that you can work collaboratively, like Google Drive or Dropbox or the OneDrive. And then, of course, there's QuickBooks Online, which allows your accountant and your other firm's tax accountant, et cetera, to have access to your finances to help you to make sure you close your books monthly. So using any of those platforms will help you in making sure that everything stays consistent in terms of access and availability and staying connected with your team. Making sure you have clear work policies and expectations is critical. You want to make sure people know when are they expected to work. Of course, flexibility is key, but you don't want people working on Saturday and Sunday. It's still their weekend. And when you work from home, that tends to be something that you've got to continuously reiterate. Again, top down leadership. If I'm working all weekend, my team thinks they have to work all weekend. Make
Hmm.
sure that you express it to them that, hey, we work from 8 to 5, Monday through Thursday, 8 to 12 on Friday. I'm not expecting for you to be available during that time, but I'm also expecting for you to respond to emails within a timely period. I am expecting for those deliverables to be met during the deadlines. So making sure all of those things are clearly communicated upfront in the beginning before you guys just transition into remote work. Prioritizing communication and connectivities. Again, my team and I, we meet 2 times a week, as a full team, but me and my assistant meet numerous times throughout the week. And then I have multiple other outside team meetings with the other individuals in our organization. It's important that you stay connected, make them a priority. This is as the owner, as the business leader, you are the one that has to set the tone for this. So making sure you have standing meetings on your calendar that you keep, you make them a priority. Don't deviate from those unless there's an emergency, because then your team will feel like it's not important to you, it's not important to them, right?
I just want to add, Ebony, to that. I feel like communication is the number one that can make or break a remote or hybrid environment. I've seen when people overly communicate it and now they're micromanaging the people working from home, or I've seen when they've been completely hands off.
Yeah.
So it definitely is a dance, and don't get discouraged if you kind of, that pendulum does kind of swing back and forth, but you can't give up. You just kind of have to figure out what works. And to your point, Ebony, every team is different. It's like children. What works for your 5 year old might not work for your 15-year old, definitely won't work for the 3 year old. So you got to figure out, but some things as the boss, like you said, you just have to set the tone. This is what it is. I'm paying you to do a job. You have to be available during these times. And if you are not, you have to communicate with me timely.
Period. And that's just what it is. It's top down leadership. You've got to set the example for them in this environment. So you took the words out of my mouth, because I was thinking the same thing. This is definitely like raising children. Like you don't want to
Yes.
ever make your teammates or your employees feel like they're your kids. But if you have children, then you understand the dynamics of everybody's got a different personality and temperament, and you can't just parent them all the same, right? Everybody
Mm-mm.
is not the same. So you've got to treat them accordingly. But at the end of the day, the expectations are still the same, right? Regardless
Yes.
of how you communicate it to them or how you get their attention, the expectations don't change, right?
Period. Yes.
Strength in cybersecurity practices is real important. We got hacked this year, so
Oh,
hacked my email, and thankfully we had a IT service that was available to help us to get in there and quickly shut things down. So I definitely think it's important that if you are a small business and you are going remote, that you invest. It's not much. It's about $500 a month at most. But just invest in somebody to safeguard your stuff. I mean, this is a big,
yes.
big critical thing. This is where your finances are, your social security information, all of your business information is located in the cloud. You want to make sure you protect it and guard it just like you would your debit card or your credit cards, you know.
Absolutely.
And then be intentional about culture and team building. I mean, we want to make sure we don't lose that connectivity of family. We are a family owned business, so we don't ever want to lose that. So it's still important that we get together and celebrate. We still want to recognize the wins. We want to make sure that when we can have lunch together, we try and at least make that happen. If we can have at least 1 or 2 meetings a year where we're in person, we want to try and make that happen. So it's very, very important that we're just not business, business, business 24/7, that we're having some fun, that we're having some meetups, and that we're celebrating each other's birthdays and wins and successes along the way so that we can continue to build that team camaraderie, so that they want to come to work, whether it's in their pajamas or not, right? Like we want them
Yes.
to enjoy what they do and feel like they're a part of the family.
Yeah. And I know we've been focusing on small business for profit. This can be implemented in all things. I'm in a hybrid kind of environment for a board that I sit on, a nonprofit.
Mhm,
We meet in person twice a year, but we have our meetings remotely to make it convenient for folks that they might want to join a board, but they don't live in the state or they don't live in the city.
mhm.
So even family meetings, my mom is one of 10 and some have passed away, but they have a siblings Zoom meeting. It's because, like we talked about with communication, it's great to have check ins, but it's good to actually see the person
Yeah.
too. Like sometimes, like they say, a picture can say 1,000 words. And if you actually can see Ebony, it's different from hearing her on the phone and really just, oh, well, what's going on in the background? Oh, how's your kids doing? That's when you can bring in some of that personal items with working from home and then feel more like a family with the team. I've taught remotely for 5 years and still physically haven't met some people where I feel like they're like my family
Yeah.
and had great feedback on the engagement in the class. So it is definitely doable. We live in a time now where you can live wherever you want to. And as long as you have a stable Wi Fi
Yeah.
and smart device, you can get most of the work done that you need to. So, Ms. Sullivan, thank you again for making time out of your busy hybrid remote day, working from your home office that we can see in the background. And so, Ms. Sullivan, if you can just let folks know. You also have Ebony Sullivan's Consulting. I know that you're going to be doing some rebranding soon, but if anyone listening needs electrical services or if they need small business coaching, how can they get in contact with you?
Yeah, so if you're looking for electrical services, you can contact us through our website at CassyElectric.com. That's CASSY electric.com, or contact us via phone 864-735-8882. If you're looking for consulting services, I would love to work with you. You can also find us on Ebony S. Sullivan consulting.com. That website is up right now, but we are going through a huge rebrand. I'm super excited. Out for
Yay.
more details, you can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. I'm out there. Just look for us and you'll find me there somewhere out in the universe. And I would love to talk to you and work with you in any capacity that I can.
Wonderful. Well, guys that are watching, if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the Veronica Edwards Show. We are here on YouTube. We still have our former platform on Buzzsprout, where it's just audio, veronicaedwards.buzzsprout.com. If you forget where all the things are, you can go on my website, balancevirtually.com. So thank you guys for listening. And until next time, stay balanced and financially savvy.